The Jets are flying high in Winnipeg as hard-hitting Rangers defenseman Jacob Trouba continues to toe the line. Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Sports columnist Steve Simmons and Postmedia hockey columnist Bruce Garrioch. And guys, since we've been doing these videos, we've talked about pretty much every Canadian team, probably except the Winnipeg Jets, who have quietly won 8 of their last 10. They sit 12-6-2 on the year. Bruce, the Jets don't seem to be getting much love around the league right now, but how have they done it after an offseason with some big turnover to core pieces?
Well, I think one of the big things that they're getting is goaltending and timely scoring from Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele. I look at the Winnipeg Jets right now, and I thought one of the best moves was being able to keep Hellebuck there. And I think it's brought some stability to that room. I think people were kind of wondering what he was going to do, Steve. They were without their head coach, Rick Bowness, but he's back now. To me, they've put all the pieces together, and they've got one of the best goaltenders in the league when he's on his game. He still has to help them in the playoffs, but I feel like they've certainly established themselves as a contender.
Well, you look at first of all, the division they're in. They have Colorado ahead of them. They have Dallas right beside them. I mean, it's like punch one, punch two, and they're right there within 2 points of both of them. I mean, tied right now with Dallas in points, 2 points behind Colorado. I think any team in the NHL, if you said on this date in November, you can be 2 points behind Colorado and tied with Dallas, I think every other team in the league would put up their hand and say, yes, I'll take that. What I like about the Winnipeg Jets, structure. This started with Rick Bowness bringing in and continued when Arneal took over as coach.
Yeah.
They play a very structured game. They don't, run and gun the way they have in the past. Yes, Hellebuck's numbers don't look like great goaltending numbers, but I think that's sort of a product of the way, they're not tight in the back end the way you'd want to be as a contender. But he bails them out when they need to get bailed out. But in between that, they have a structure and they have a third line. And I'm a big third line guy. They have a third line centered by their captain, Adam Lowry. And this is just one of those identification lines that knows how to play the game and does its minute shift by minute shift by minute shift. And I think leads that entire team. It's not very often a third line leads a hockey team. But in that case, with so much talent up front, with Scheifele and Connor and all these guys who are big scorers in the NHL, that third line is the identification to me of the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, they've gotten off to a great start, and we'll see how things keep going for them. Meanwhile, New York Rangers defenseman and former Winnipeg Jet Jacob Trouba fined $5,000 for his slash to the head of Boston's Trent Frederic over the weekend, Steve. This is not the first time Trouba has done something questionable on the ice. He tends to throw some pretty big hits from time to time. When it comes to the most feared players in the game right now, is Jacob Trouba, Steve, the new Scott Stevens or Chris Pronger, in your opinion?
I think absolutely that's where he is, and there's not very many of them anymore. But he's like Stevens and like Pronger, he pushes the limits. So what he does, you look at what he does, is that legal? Is that not legal? Should he be fined? Should he be suspended? I think Jacob Trouba's in that conversation about every week or two. And in this case, I can't believe he got a freebie. This is a stupid slash that he flung. That should have been 5 games, 7 games. You pick a number. You can give whatever number you want. $5,000 fine? I don't know what the Department of Safety in the NHL is doing. I have never known what the Department of Safety in the NHL is doing, and I know less now than ever before.
Well, and I saw that, and I saw someone saying, well, he was trying to free his stick because his stick was being held. And you don't free your stick by swinging at somebody's head. You're right, Steve. He absolutely got a freebie, a $5,000 fine. I was shocked that wasn't a 4 or 5 game suspension. You can't swing your stick like that. He's lucky he didn't do more damage. I look at Jacob Trouba though, right, and he is a big hitter, and he's got 530 some hits in 325 career games. I mean, what he's done is he's made himself a force to be reckoned with, and he's made himself a presence. And I think you're right, Rob. He's in that in that area with guys like Scott Stevens. But doing stuff like that will not make him respected. And I thought that George Peros, like, that's not part of the game. George Peros should have come down harder on that, Steve.
I'm the biggest Chris Pronger fan maybe in the world. I just think he's one of the great players we've seen in our lives and one of the most influential players in NHL history. And every once in a while, Chris Pronger would lose it on the ice, and he would do something stupid. And he would get suspended for doing something stupid. And in the case of Scott Stevens, I was a big fan of Scott Stevens too. What Scott Stevens did to other players, you had to know where you were on the ice.
Yeah.
You had to understand where you couldn't go or where you couldn't skate. What Jacob Trouba has done now, that I don't think there's another player in the NHL that's done this. He has put that fear into players coming through the neutral zone, players coming through unprotected. Where is Trouba going to be? Is he going to is he going to smash me? And then now, it's not just is he going to smash me, but if he does smash me, is his stick coming across my head? So it's a Stevens Pronger light, because I'm not saying he's a player of their level. He's not. Those guys are Hall of Famers and they're all-time greats. He's a physical specimen of their status, and he can do the crazy kind of things that they did, and the kind of hits that Stevens would make that would knock everybody's socks off, including the people in the stands, and so he has that. And I can't think of one other NHL player right now that puts the fear of God into any player.
Makes his presence felt.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to keep your head up when Jacob Trouba is on the ice.
And look at the Rangers' record. I'm not going to apologize for what Trouba does. Look at the Rangers' record. This is the best Rangers team we've seen in a very long time.
Absolutely. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Steve Simmons and Bruce Garrioch, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time on another edition of Off the Post.